Welcome everybody, Mark here from Mark Builds Bricks. This is it. This is the first episode of my new video series called Projects, where I go hunt down really cool instructions to build really cool MOCs that other people have designed. So our first candidate is this beast. This beast is going to be the first thing we build in this video series. So sit back, relax, and enjoy it. And let's get into it.
Welcome.
Right, so sourcing where I got the instructions to building this absolutely awesome MOC of the Colonial Viper MKII brick vault, as you can see on the screen. This is where I've got it. This is the actual one that we're currently building for this video series. I love this. I love this thing. So right here, it is on sale for $24.99. It is about 2,700 parts, about 693. The instructions do come with the original version of the build and a slightly modified version of the build in the instructions. Plus, you also get a parts list so you can upload to BrickLink so you can source out your parts for that. This absolutely awesome design, again, is by David Duperon. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. He knocked this one out of the park. The instructions also come with a PDF of the stickers. So if you know a place to go get the stickers printed out so you can put the stickers on, you can do that. Digital instructions only. There's no printed material or anything like that. You got to print it yourself and source the parts yourself. But I didn't just buy this one. I actually bought this as a set. So I got all three of these. So this is the UCCS Battlestar Galactica bundle, Viper, Raptor, and the Cylon Raider. So you know what other projects that are coming to this channel. So stay tuned to that. Now we'll talk about sourcing all the parts. So we managed to get all the pieces shipped in. This took basically a little bit of about a month, close to a month to source all these pieces in. I did select only Canadian stores to deal with on BrickLink. It was also my first time sourcing pieces on BrickLink, so it was an interesting experience. I will give a big shout out to the stores I've dealt with directly and communicated. You guys were absolutely fantastic to deal with, and some of the pieces for used were absolutely fantastic pieces. Like I did pick used, I did pick new. Going through this, through this exercise, I learned my lesson on some stuff because some of the used pieces, I'm sorry, but I don't know if you can see. Can you see the teeth marks in those pieces? The quality of how chewed on and dirty and awful that piece is. And again, these are just as an assortment of pieces that have like teeth marks. And of course, this is supposed to be white, not even close to white anymore. So I have a bag that I've sorted through. This is the next one. This is called garbage. So all these pieces I really can't use. They're just destroyed, or they can't be. Like, this is an all white ship, so I'm trying to keep it as pristine or as good looking as possible. But we did go through. I've got tiles, I've got slopes, I've got bricks, I've got specialty pieces in their own bags. We got plates, we got Technic arm lifts. We went through and spent a good 3 days sorting everything into some type of chaos that my mind will work for building this together. So, like as I said, the next time I ordered from BrickLink, I did favorite a couple of stores that I know the used pieces are fantastic, so I will still continue to work with them. And again, I will probably put new pieces for the future projects going forward. But all in all, this was a pretty decent experience for the first time doing this. So again, let me know in the comments how your experience with BrickLink ordering pieces and stuff like that. And I would like to know. So let's jump into the actual build. So let's talk about the instructions. So after I've downloaded the instructions from Brick Vault, this is what I get. Now there is two instructions. There is the original, which is what we used to build this Colonial Viper. And then there's the an updated version where he changes a few little things here and there as well. I believe he comes up with a new stand as well to have the Viper on an angle and stuff like that for if you want to display it. But all in all, this is the digital instructions that we do get. Again, Colonial Viper MKII MK2, a UCS build designed by David Duperon. Again, humongous shout out to you. This is absolutely fantastic. As you can see in the picture, it's got the stickers on it and stuff like that. We still need to go get the stickers, so don't worry about it. But it comes basically after you source everything, you'll be able to put stickers on the plaque and stuff like that. And once you have the stickers created and everything as well. A little bit about the author, David Duperon, his email address, if you want to email him directly and stuff like that. This was copyrighted back in 2006 when he came up with this. This is 69.3 studs or 55.4 centimeters in length, 35.6 centimeters width, and a 24.6 centimeters in height. Just a little under 2,700 parts in total and 2,288 grams. So do the conversion if you want it in pounds. But yeah, so you start off with the main frame. As you can see, you'll be building everything for that. And as you go through, the instructions are fairly good throughout it. Again, this was built back in 2016. So I'm sure David would love to update the instructions a little bit more modern. But all in all, there was only a couple areas in the instructions where I was just scratching my head going, what did you do? Like, how did you do that? And there was a couple of parts where you had to guess where it goes, but luckily you're just mirroring the other side. So you can just do it in reverse basically to get the setup the same for the other side of the ship. But yeah, all in all, pretty straightforward, straight throughout the whole thing. He does break it down into nice chunks. So you're not doing this all in one shot. So you can build the main frame and then call it a day and then do the engine assembly, the wing assembly and stuff like that, and the stand and everything. All in all, absolutely great. Like as I said, with a couple of little minor spots in the instructions. Other than that, it does have opening landing gear and stuff like that. It does have a cockpit that does open up, but it does fit a little tight around the cockpit chair, just to let you know that. And he also lets you know PDF for the stickers. It also shows where all the stickers go on the ship. So it's very easy to line everything up as needed on each side. And there is a full parts inventory list as well in the back of the instructions. So there you have it. That is the instructions for this build. Now let's start assembling it. Day one of building completed. And as you can see, this is not a small build in any way, shape, or form. Hence, it is UCS stage or status of a build. Mind you, they call it UCCS in the instruction booklet. Again, David, you knocked it out of the park for one of my top 3 favorite ships of all time in sci-fi. So here we have the build itself, everything from the nose to roughly the back. So it is going to be roughly this in length. Now we still have to build the engines, we still have to build the top fin, and then the 2 wings on the side as well to build out. But this is a pretty solid build. Now, when you first do this build, it's a mixture of studs going up and studs going downward. It's a bit of a upside down type build in some areas. As you can see, like this whole back area is all upside down at the moment. As you can see, there's basically no studs back here that are facing upward. They're all facing downward. The whole bottom row or the bottom section, it is tied or connected to the Technic structure that's holding the whole middle. And of course, we've got the nose piece in place as well. Now, we got some good detail in the nose. We got some nice vents and stuff like that to make that nose angle and everything look absolutely fantastic. We do have some pieces in the side. These are going to actually, there's like a little cavity in the build and stuff like that. So it'll give it some type of texture, some type of depth of what's inside the cavity as well. The cockpit does open up. It's a little tight around the seat itself. So I might try to adjust some things, but it does slide open and slide forward, and it does slide back in place. And it does have 2 hinges in the back to go up a little bit. But all in all, it is, this is a beast. This is a big beast itself, as you can see. The bottom is basically the core of the whole first section of the instructions to build, is basically building this whole bottom section as well. It does have 3 landing gear pieces that these will be covered up with like panels that can open up, but basically you can actually pull the landing gear right out itself. Oop, let me just get this one, the back one out here. But yeah, you can be able to have the landing gear. It can sit on the legs itself. But in the instructions, it does come with a custom stand that you're going to be building. And I'm going to display it on the stand itself because I think the stand's going to look absolutely fantastic with this. We got some nice detailing in the back as well with the way this angled piece has been put in place and stuff. And again, we do have the red highlights in the back, and we're going to have this kind of dark reddish throughout the build as well as a highlight feature going through as well. We do have it in the nose. This blue piece, we won't see this. This will be fully covered and smoothed out. In the end, there's going to be very little studs actually showing. There is a sticker set, the PDF that came with the downloaded instructions. So if you know a good place to print out the stickers and stuff like that, you can get that done and then apply the stickers once you get this beast fully completed. But this is everything for day 1 of building. I'm absolutely enjoying this. We're definitely going to be building the other 2 ships that came with the package of instructions that I bought from Brick Vault. Again, the links will be in the description if you wish to purchase the same instructions and try and build this yourself. Other than that, let's get on to day 2. Day 2 completed of the Colonial Viper MKII. Yeah, this is becoming a big beast of a build. The main part we did for day 2 is all the nose. So getting the nose all done and the 2 side panels on each side of the cockpit here, and a little bit of a prep for the engine and wing assembly that's going to be coming next. But basically, let's talk about the nose. Nose looks nice and sleek. I love the red, the dark red in the nose tip, as well as going down the front. If I do build another one of these, I may change out this color and have one red and have maybe one gray, blue, who knows? But we'll see what options I can do for if I do build another one of these. But nice slick lines, looks really good. Very little stud exposure. We do have a couple here on the top of the build itself, but basically no stud exposure much on that side. We do have a nice, like as I said, a cutaway that has some nice little pieces inside to give more of a mechanical feel to it. I'll see if I can get a little zoom in on that, so it makes it look like there's some depth into the construction of it. We have a nice little plate here on both sides. Now this piece right here, that's beside the cockpit. This is you build each section and it just pops into a couple of pin clips. Basically, that's how these 2 sides are being held on. These are not held on by studs in any way, shape, or form. Just 2 clips, pop them in, and it's pretty solid in place. There's already weight to this, as you can see. This has some weight, and we haven't even built the big massive engine section yet. Like as I said before in the previous section of the video, we do have 3 little landing gear as well. Hopefully we'll end up dressing that up and covering them up with the panels so they can open and close. Like as I said, they do slide out, but they're just a little snug. Just a heads up on that, but they do come out. As you can see, this one comes out nicely. I might have to fiddle around with this one on this side to get it to slide out nicely, but it does come out and it does pop back in place. Other than that, this is turning into a nice beast of a build. I love this. This looks really good. The cockpit does tilt up and slides forward to open it up, but just be wary. It's a little tight around the chair to slide it back on, so we won't slide it right off at the moment. But that is all of day 2 of the build. It was a short day for this part. This went fairly quickly to build this part of the nose cone and everything. Next up is the engine and wing assembly that we're going to put in place. So stay tuned for that. Right. So day 3 of the Colonial Viper MKII UCCS build. Absolutely, like as I said, this is still a beast. Mostly that we got completed is the whole structure, that there's a bunch of Tectic structure here in the back of it to help prep for the main fin wing, as well as the 3 engines that are going to be placed on this section as well, and to get ready for the wing assemblies for the left and right wing. But the bulk of the build for this stage, like as I said, was this whole back area of getting it all in place and pretty solid. This is, it's got some weight again. There's a lot of weight in the back. We did also close up the landing gear as well. Some of them, this section right here in the back here, this little U piece in the back that's angled, this is the most fragile part of this build. No matter what we touch or how you push on things, these things just fall apart. It's not hard to put back on. That's the most fragile part, other than the cockpit chair. That is fragile, but the cockpit does slide out, and it will slide up as well, and it comes right out to about here, so you can see the inside. But just be mindful, it is a little tight getting it back in, so you may knock some pieces off. All in all, this is looking absolutely fabulous. Like as I said, very little stud exposure throughout this build. Is very nicely tiled up and stuff like that, and it's starting to look pretty good. I am using used pieces as well as new pieces, so there's a little bit of wear and tear in the whites and stuff like that. Gives it a little bit of a battle damage and stuff like that, I guess. I don't have stickers or anything for that yet. I still have to figure out where I'm going to get the stickers printed, and then we'll hopefully get the stickers on this on the final go of it. If we don't do it, I will do a separate video of just an update of, hey, we got stickers on it. All in all, very good looking. Very solid build. Very, like, this is phenomenal. I can't wait to jump into the engines and the wings next. Let's keep going and see what happens in the next stage. You thought we were going to be finishing the rest of the build, but I skipped ahead in the instructions, jumped down, and we built the actual stand for the Colonial Viper here. Now, there is 2 versions of the stand. There is this version, which basically it's just going to sit right in place. It's not really attached to it. And then there's another version that's more of the traditional stands that you might find, where it's a base with a single pillar. The pillar connects into the bottom of the ship and puts the ship on an angle. I went with this one. I kind of like this one, just where I'm going to be displaying the Viper, where it's just going to sit in place. I'm quite happy with that, but pretty standard. Nothing too fancy, as you can see. Some plates, some curves, slopes, and stuff like that. Some nice little detail. We got some printed pieces here of the construction type signs and stuff like that. A couple little transparent 1x1s to give it some light type effect. But basically, that is it right there itself. And we will actually display it with the actual ship. So here's the ship at its current state. And you just slide it in place like that. And that's it. That's how it sits into the stand itself. So it makes it very easy to turn it around and stuff like that. So it holds it in place very nicely. And like I said, the wings, they're going to come down to about here. So they're not actually going to actually touch any table or ground that you have display. So it's going to sit very well once the wings are done. So yeah, so that is the stand. Day 4 completed of this absolutely beast of a build. This is, again, the Colonial Viper MKII, part of the revamped Battlestar Galactica TV series. So it is not the MK1, as we were mentioning throughout this whole video. MK1 is from the original TV series, the 1970s version as well. This was designed by David Duperon. Hopefully I'm saying his name correctly. If not, my apologies, but a humongous shout out to you for coming up with this fantastic instructions to build this. This is phenomenal. Most of the build for day 4 was the intake of the engines, as well as the 3 main thrusters in the back area. Day 3, we did the wings and stuff like that. 3.5, we snuck in the base plate, the holder the stand that we're using. But all in all, this looks absolutely fantastic. Now I'm using, again, as I said, I sourced out used pieces as well as new pieces for this build. And it's got a bit of a little, the whites aren't like super super crisp white just because I'm using used pieces and stuff like that. But that helped kept the cost of this build down. Now, the cost of sourcing all these parts, for me, it actually put me between about 250 Canadian to $300 Canadian, or just, okay, let's just say 250 to about 320 Canadian, because I get a factor in shipping and everything. And I stayed within stores within Canada from the BRIClink program, basically. So I got all my parts from there. And I actually had a small set of parts already in house that I can use. But all in all, every angle of this ship looks fantastic, like just fantastic. The cockpit does open up. You do lift it up, slide it forward. It will open up to reveal the inside, but I'll give you a fair warning. The main cockpit chair, or the seat where your pilot would be sitting, is a little fragile on the sides, so it does get caught on it, so you may or may not accidentally break your chair inside there, just a heads up. But it does slide open, and again, the original ship, it slides forward across the nose, but I love the way David incorporated two little hinges to lift it up a bit and then slide it out this way. We didn't get any distractions or getting caught on any of the awesome parts of the nose cone as well. But basically, like as I said, it just slides back in and we are good to go. And as you can see, we are already caught a bit on the chair, but it is done. Now, there are a couple of pieces that are a little fragile. These clips and stuff like that, it's the clutch. I just have to replace the hooks, and the clutch would be nice on that. But everywhere else, it's actually pretty solid build. Like, I'm very impressed. Now, there is a spot on the bottom of the ship in the back where there's a nice little angled piece back down in this section here. That is a little fragile in that area. So when you are building it and you have this placed on the table, yeah, so this is why I jumped a little ahead. I built the stand for it, and then I was able just to place it on the stand from that part and continue building while it's on the stand. It made it easier than accidentally knocking these pieces off every second time I have to move it or whatever. But all in all, it is a very solid, it is heavy. So this is a bit of a beast if you're going to pick it straight up. And again, it's got some weight to it. So be mindful. Make sure you use two hands moving the sucker around. It's got a mixture for the design. Mixture of upside down building and right side up building, because you basically are sandwiching the bottom half of the build and the top half of the build together on some Technic frame inside, which has the studs upward and you have studs downward to make everything mesh into place nicely. But in certain areas where I thought it was going to be a little fragile, David did a great job of making sure that things got braced very nicely and put in place. Now, there are a couple of little tricky areas in the build where my fingers couldn't fit in there, so I actually had to use the set of tweezers and something like that to push some pins in and stuff like that. But once it's set in place, you don't have to worry about it. And as well, putting the nacelles on, they pop in place, but it's just getting it right onto the stud correctly. And there's nowhere to really, hold to push up as you push down to get it sandwiched in. So be mindful of that. I love the way the engines were put together as well. The three main thrusters for the engines actually use a Lego tire, like a big tire, and you put a Lego dish, like a space dish, inside of that to make it a little awkward oblong type circle type scenario. And then you put the tracks round, and then you also have a nice little blue round piece as well as some vented pieces all on hinges and stuff like that to give depth to the actual engines themselves. Again, I'm not going to be coming up with the actual technical pieces for each one as we talk about it, but all in all, looks fantastic. Like, we got some nice detail that you would see in the ship as well, with the engine pieces that are exposed as well, coming down the front of the nose. As you can see, we do have a nice little inset in there, and with some pieces in there to give it a nice little, hey, there's some technical exposure of what's underneath the hull and stuff like that. That kind of really cool. You do see one Technic piece in here. I think it's either one or two blue Technic pieces, like one on each side. I don't mind it at all. It doesn't bother me at all. If it does bother you, I would just say get some black nail polish and just do a little dab there you go, you're done. Or replace the piece with a black pin if it works. But all in all, I like it like that. I don't have the stickers on this set. I have the PDF that came with the digital instructions that I got from Brick Vault. So I can take that sticker sheet and go get it printed out on stickers and then apply it and stuff like that. So I may do that later. But all in all, this absolutely looks great. Very little stud exposure. Like we got 4 stud exposures here on the top, but all in all, it's all smooth, nicely tiled and everything. It looks great. So to top it all off, we are going to continue building more of these awesome sets as we go through, because I did buy the Battlestar Galactica 3-pack from Brick Vault, which David did design this one. He also did the new Cylon Raider, as well the Colonial Raptor. So we will be building those two once we can start sourcing out the pieces for those and getting everything in. But I gotta admit, this is absolutely awesome. This is one of my top 3 favorite ships in the world. This is so cool. So I'm very, very happy to build this, and I'm glad I was able to share this with you guys. So to continue on with the projects video series, we have a fair amount of instruction booklets that I've already hunted down. And again, without your support, which is absolutely awesome. So a big shout out to everybody that is supporting the channel. A humongous shout out to my channel members, because becoming a channel member, that revenue goes into these projects for me to go source out these parts and stuff like that, because these sets are not cheap, and it will take some time to get everything in place and to build everything. So humongous shout out to all my members that are current in the channel, as well all my subscribers. You guys are absolutely awesome. Like, comment, and subscribe as you always would do for these videos, and we'll see you guys in the next project.